In times of stress, especially when the world is fighting a pandemic, it gets difficult to find a ray of hope, one that can keep our faith alive. But knowledge, as we all know, is the only light that can guide us to our destination. Hi everybody, Dare to Compete presents Winning Mantras, an endeavor to ignite the spirit of competitiveness. And in this episode of Winning Mantras, we have Chirag Dixit and Shubham Agrawal with us, the national winners of ICICI Bank Beat the Curve 2019. Hi guys, how are you?
Hi.
And how has your time in quarantine been this far?
Quarantine is just as everyone probably lockdown, but then we're just trying to keep up with the industry that we're going to enter and just revising the concepts that we've learned in our MBA so as to utilize the time. Since most of us, our joinings have been deferred, we are trying to utilize this time and keeping up with it.
Hi, Alina. I'm Shubham. Hi, Alina. Thank you for having us. As of now, since the joining has been delayed as of now, so to cope up with the time to listening to podcasts, because there are very interesting podcasts even from good companies like MasterCard and different BFSI companies. So I'm also trying to reading blogs, for example, the Junior VC by Agrawal and Chirag, so that I can get an insight about how startups and VC venture capitalist fund work together. Also, meanwhile, I'm trying to do some freelancing work as I have joined a data analytics firm. So I'm trying to learn data analytics and visualization skills so that, it helps me in the future. So yeah, that's it about.
Okay, that's great. Let's move on to the most important question, I guess. And that is, tell us something about ICICI Bank Beat the Curve. What was the competition about and how was it structured?
And Beat the Curve, the one that we participated was the season 2. It was the second year, and it was divided into 4 rounds. Initially, there was this campus round, wherein close to 2,500 teams participated from various B-school campuses all over the country. We had the campus winners and runner-ups, so 2 teams from each of the campus. When in the round 2, they asked us to go in a little bit depth about our solution, and further they even provided us with mentorship. So there was a mentorship team wherein they connected us with them through video calls, audio calls, and we got a chance to interact with them, run our solution PPT through them. They gave us feedback, and we even made some modifications, after which again we had to submit it for the semi-final round. After the semi-final round, which was the round 3, only top 6 teams went ahead for the national finals. So that's how the competition was structured overall. The national finals happened in Mumbai, their head office, that is the ICICI Bank BKC Towers. Yeah.
Would you guys like to tell us how you went into the competition and what was your thought process of solving the case study that was given to you? And begin with telling us what the case was about and what was the entire structure that you chose and your strategy for opting it.
So the case was about, ICICI has a digital vision of 2020, which is to create innovative products which satisfy the needs and demands of customers, utilizing the existing products and services that the ICICI Bank currently have. So this was our case, and we were given 4 industries to choose from, 4 sectors to choose from, and we chose one of them. And we have to improve the user experience of such products. Now, if I'll walk through the entire thought process, like how did we come up with the solution and what were the key aspects of creating a presentation. So to come up with a solution, the first necessary point is doing a market research. But to do that market research, you should have an understanding about the banking ecosystem and your comfortable domain, which you're going to choose, right? So the story behind it is, we both did our internship in bank itself. So I did my internship in RBL Bank and Chirag did his internship in ICICI Bank. And during my internship, it was in Mumbai, Mumbai city. So saving money was a difficult part out there. And investing money was again a difficult part. We thought that, okay, the problem that I'm facing would be also faced by a lot of students. So this kind of millennials. So millennials have a problem saving money and in fact investing them afterwards. So this was an overall idea that we had, and we began with the primary market research. We took research of around 1,000 plus alumni classmates. In fact, we did a huge research in Delhi University students because they fit our target customers, and we researched on LinkedIn as well. After that, we also interviewed domain experts and leaders from ICICI Bank and RBL Bank, because this helped us to generate some key insights on the solution that they were providing. And into the secondary market research, because primary research should always be accompanied by a proper secondary research. So we used our online library called IBSCO in IIM Kashipur, and reports of market research firms like McKinsey, PwC, and Deloitte. And after that, once the overall scenario was there, we had our assumptions and interference on our plate, we started with the comparative analysis. We looked at what other banks and fintech companies outside India are doing and what other fintech startups are doing. And we try to amalgamate the solution with respect to Indian customers and use design thinking process to come up with the ideas around the solution. In fact, we went a step ahead by creating an MVP, which is called minimum viable product. We built the prototype of the app that we're trying to present as a solution using wireframing tool called Balsamic, and integrated it with the ICICI Bank mobile application so that the look and feel and the practicality of the solution gets displayed properly. And the last slide was financial analysis. We used tools like LinkedIn Salary Insights, and we did a cost-benefit analysis and created a break-even chart, projected revenue and expenses on a quarterly basis, because all of these banking financial statements and everything are on a quarterly financial basis. And we focused on customer acquisition costs and customer lifetime value to create a break-even chart and figure out when will our product achieve profitability in the market.
Okay, now that's quite a detailed explanation of how you all went about the case, and that's really great. I think this is going to help the incoming students as well, and they'll get a good idea of how they should be participating in the next session of ICICI Bank Beat the Curve. As you mentioned, there were quite some points regarding the presentation. Would you like to mention a few things about the presentation that that are mandatory and they should be there in the presentation?
Yeah, so the basic structure of the slide, like across the case study competitions, there's a formula of how you are going to approach any of the case studies. So first of all, you start with the problem statement. You have a case, you read the problem statement. And the second thing is you do the market research. So market research will be done in two parts. One is primary market research, which would be done through surveys, questionnaires, online surveys, person-to-person surveys, followed by secondary market research. Once you have done your market research, you have few interferences, you have few objectives, and you have few assumptions that need to be verified. So you go on towards comparative analysis. Comparative analysis could be inter-industry and intra-industry as well. So you go on reading on reports, you go to these websites, YouTube channels, you try to use their apps and come up with those strong points regarding competitive analysis and how is the competitive landscape changing. The next step is you do a market sizing. So the solution that you are trying to build, what is the opportunity size? So this can be done using a top to bottom approach or a bottom to top approach, and then you come to the solution. Solution should always come to the last part, because at times in startups and in fact in the corporate space, the first solution that you are building might not be the best solution. So solution keeps on changing, but the insights and the key pointers that you have generated from your research still keeps the place. So once you have the solution, you do the financial projection so that your project or your solution is financially viable and could be implemented, have a positive ROI.
Just adding one point, since you mentioned what could be the necessary requisites to your presentation, one thing which me and Shubham we realized during our journey was that it is necessary that one of us always plays a devil's advocate to what the other is suggesting, because that helps in the final presentation, because obviously the audience or the panel of judges is not going to straight away going to accept what you are presenting. So if we already have played a devil's advocate to the other person, that helped us a lot. So exactly. I might also want to add that. Yeah.
Right. So to adding to that part, so what we had done is we had divided slides among ourselves. So few slides will be completely created by me, and then Chirag will come and evaluate and give feedback, critical suggestions on them, and vice versa. So in fact, before the night before the actual presentation in Mumbai office, we opened up our slide and we went to read each and every line of a slide, and we tried to think upon ourselves what could be the questions that could be asked by the jury. And we did profound research on those, and in fact few questions were asked from that night research the next day itself. So that devil's game is very important, as Chirag said.
I think this is what added the extra element to your competition skills, and it helped you win the trophy. That's great. Guys, moving on to the next question. Even after rigorous brainstorming sessions, there are a few key aspects that we often miss. and and this happens when we watch the other person's presentation. So were you taken by surprise via somebody else's presentation, and you thought that, okay, maybe this is something that we should have done and we missed it somehow?
Actually, when we had around 6 different teams, and 6 teams coming from one of the most premier B schools. You have a lot to learn when you are seeing them presenting, because and they were presenting in front of an audience of 100 plus people who comprised of ICICI bank professionals itself. So there was a lot of nervousness, but there were few key innovations that other teams were coming up during the presentation. So to give you a rough background, the slide limit in the final presentation was just 5. Now you are given 8 minutes. So, and you have a more lot of content than 5 slides. So what you do? So one of the team actually used animations inside the slide to deliver more content in the visual form. So they were not changing the slides, but in one slide itself, with the help of animation, they were able to deliver more and more visual presentation, which attracted the eyeballs of audience. The second, one team divided the time of 8 minutes into 2 parts. 3 minutes was the video part, and remaining 5 minutes was the deliverable part. So these videos, they were actually talking to the users. They were doing the MVP analysis. They built the prototype, and they did customer interviews. So it actually attracted that they went to the ground and they did the research. And one team actually wrote whatever they wanted to present in a piece of paper. It eliminated the hiccups and breakups, and they finished exactly on time. And the delivery was very clear and to the point. So in the presentation guidelines, it was not written that you cannot read from a paper. So if you're not reading, so if you're reading from the paper, you can actually create a much better, presentation with very clear points. And in fact, one of the teams from JBIMS had done a wonderful analysis using concepts taught in the classroom. It truly depicted their core competences, which stood in terms of finance. And these were the key learnings when we were observing different competitors in the final round.
So, like, to be honest, there were 6 teams in the national finals, and from each of the remaining 5 teams, there was at least one thing which was a surprising element for us. We could have done that too, but then it was like a complete package what was needed, and just like every team had one or more surprising elements, every team was lacking also in one or two. Yeah, that was quite a great learning from the finals.
Now, you guys seem to have an excellent bonding. Were you guys friends before the competition, or did this happen during the competition? Where did the team come about?
Okay, I'll answer that. Shubham was one of my first friends on the campus. Like when we joined the campus, he was one of the first people I interacted with, and we kind of sat in the classroom also together. We shared our assignments, etc. Uh, so when this competition thing came out, I was sitting in the mess, and she sat next to me, and he was like, "Should we do this?" I said, "Okay, fine." And it was just a normal chat. Like we didn't strategically think that, okay, fine, this is a competition. We both have done our internships from banking domain or something like that. We didn't think of all that. We were like, okay, fine, let's try this, and we caught up from there.
Right. In fact, me and Chirag had worked together in different projects, like inter-college projects as well. And we had participated in a different competition in our first year. And the team size was 7. So we knew each other's qualities, and we knew that we could bond well, and we had complementary skills. So we teamed up and we prepared.
Okay, wow. Now that's great. What can be better than having friends in your team and working with them? It's always better to have somebody that you already know. Again, my next question is about the roadblocks. Now, once you're working on a presentation and once you're working on a case study, now there are times when you find yourself in a fix. You're unable to move out of that situation, and you think, okay, now this is something that we did not expect. What did you do to solve such situations, and who helped you?
Like after we cleared the initial round and we were the campus winners, we were working on the round 2 presentation, and like an in-depth solution was required. So we realized that a lot more research was required than what we had done for the first round, because it's like the campus winners of all the B school campuses that have taken part in this competition are going to pitch in with their PPTs, and it's not going to be an easy one. So that's when we decided first thing that okay, fine, let's play out our strengths. We have done our internships from in the banking domain. Let's connect with our mentors, And we had this added advantage that I had interned with ICICI Bank itself. So I connected with my mentor, and then he was like, "Okay, fine. Just like you did well in the internship, I'm sure you guys will do well in this also. Whatever you require, you can always connect with us." So that was a very big advantage to us. Both our mentors, who were professionals in the banking industry, helped us. Secondly, the other thing was that we didn't fall back on asking for help. Like for our research, we did require a lot of people to pitch in. Like Shubham mentioned at the beginning, our primary research involved responses from 1,000+ people. So getting something of that kind required help from our friends also. So we didn't shy off from asking help from our batchmates, our relatives, etc. And all of them helped us. So that's how we tried to cross the roadblocks.
Okay, guys. ICICI Bank Beat the Curve seems to be very close to your hearts. What is so special about this competition in particular that other case study competitions lack? Or maybe there has to be some unique element to this competition. What was that?
After
Okay.
participating, obviously the win was the special moment, and it was all the more special because that was our first win for IIM Kashipur for that academic year. So it was not only special for both of us, it was special for the entire batch, our juniors, and all the faculties were happy because that was the first corporate competition win for this year. So that's why it is very close to our hearts and special.
So I'll try to focus on what makes ICICI Beat the Curve unique from all the different corporate competition there out in the market. So I think 25 colleges are eligible for this competition, and every college will have one winner. And in one team, there will be two students. So all in all, there will be 50 campus winners. And to the surprise, all 50 of them will get a PPI from ICICI Bank, which I don't think any other competition gives this kind of an opportunity, right? So there is a short probability. There's a higher probability that you'll get a PPI because every college will have one team getting a PPI. Second, though ICICI Bank never advertised, but it was a kind of a product management competition, as it dealt with identifying opportunities and gaps in existing digital products and coming out with an innovative solution to it. So students who want to build a career in product management, strategy, growth, and technology kind of roles, this is a perfect competition for them to ace this competition. And this is one of the very few competition which is being organized by a BFSI, banking, financial, insurance companies. So students who want to build a career in BFSI, working in bank, being a banker, who want to work in fintech startups like Paytm, Razorpay, and a lot of different companies like PhonePe, and want a financial role, so definitely apply for it.
So Shubham and Chirag, you guys are national winners of ICICI Bank Beat the Curve, and this competition is definitely very close to your hearts. But what would you say, and why would you say that a B school competition is important for an MBA's life, and how does it shape a B schooler's life in general?
Like one of the important things that Shubham has already mentioned, that all the campus winners, like practically 50 people, got a PPI, a pre-placement interview from ICICI Bank. Now, this is just one of the benefits, but it's an important one because like you get to give an interview at a company for whose practical life case study you already work. So you know what the company industry is, and you already have a background research done, and that gives you an added advantage. Secondly, it's not just important because of the PPI or PPO opportunities that a case study competition gives. It's also because you get to apply the learnings that you have taken in the MBA, the presentations, the case studies that you do in your classrooms, you get to apply them on a practical and a live problem. Like even in this case, the case study that we worked upon, it was something that was a very live opportunity that ICICI Bank was seeing. Like they named the initial round as Banking 2020. It was something visionary for them, and that that gives you a great feeling when you get to work upon something like that. So yeah, these are the two major things. Thirdly, when you get into a competition, case study competition, which involves other prestigious B schools, and you go into the further rounds, you get to learn from other teams as well. Like we got to learn in the finals, you see their presentations, you see what is something that other B schools are doing, and that is not something which you will get to learn just in your classrooms or general presentation.
So in our second round, after the campus winner round, each and every team were allotted a mentor from ICICI Bank, and that mentor was a senior mentor with an experience around 10 to 15 years. So you get a chance to network with industry leaders across each stages. So that improves your connection and reach in the industry, specifically the FSI industry. Also, when you create a presentation and when you deliver it, it improves your articulation skill, presentation, and public speaking skills. Because presenting in front of the audience of 100 plus ICICI employees is also a key challenge. You have to look at how you are presenting, what is the tone modulation, what is your body language, each and everything. How are you dressed, your communication, everything. Also, it helps you to think from multiple lenses. An MBA is a blend of marketing, finance, operations, and HR subjects in general. So now when you are building that solution, you have to analyze the solution. That is your solution financially viable? From financial perspective, does it aligns with the vision and mission of the company? Then from an HR perspective, how do we go on building the solution? Operational perspective, do we have the required in-house capabilities to build that solution, or we have to partnership with some different company? If we have to do the partnership, on what criteria are we going to shortlist the company, and who are going to be the key partners? And when it comes to marketing, how are you going to market that solution? What is the go-to market strategy? And what is the marketing campaign that you are looking at, right? And also it helps you to build your resume and attract employees because you have a proven experience of showcasing your skills in the past. So I think these are the key advantages that corporate competition help as a student.
Okay, now that's some great insight about why a person should participate in these school competitions. I'm sure everybody who will be hearing to your video, who will be listening to whatever key insights you're giving, will get a clear idea about why corporate competitions are so important in B schoolers' life. What advice would you like to give to the young ones who are about to come to B school this year and who will have the opportunity of participating in ICICI Bank Beat the Curve?
As we mentioned earlier, there's a conformity that one team from your college will definitely get a PPI. So go ahead, do your best, get a PPI and keep hustling. The second is, before attempting the competition, call up your senior alumni who had previously been the campus winner of the competition and try to understand their success factors. In fact, we talked to the winner of last year's ICICI Beat the Curve, and currently he is working at one of the leading financial companies of the world. So he made us understand that ICICI Bank is looking at solutions which do not have a lot of cost structures and which could be easily implemented in next 12 to 18 months and has the vision and mission of current ICICI products. So that gave us a guideline, okay, so on what key parameters, hidden parameters my competition will be judged, because you've got to think from the shoes of the jury that will be judging the competition. And in our case, primary research and secondary research were game changers. You have to do a strong market research, secondary research by referring to quality reports. And when it comes to primary market research, reach out to at least more than 500 plus people. Specifically, why 500? Because the skewness in your primary research gets reduced. The chances of error gets reduced, and try to use powerful data visualization tools like Tableau or Power BI to properly visualize your data in a dashboard form so that during the competition, you can refer to that specific visualization in front of the audience to have a clearer view of what you are telling. Also, when the ICICI Bank floats the competition, prior to 1 month, set up a Google alert with name ICICI Bank so that you get a mail anytime whenever a news comes related to ICICI Bank. This way, you'll be updated with any major or minor initiatives the bank is taking and which might help you to come up with good solutions and could help you to shape your overall presentation in a very good way.
So I'll just add a few things to this. Um, One was that during the finals, we realized that each team is a strong team that has reached to the finals. Everyone is going to deliver the solution that they are expecting, but it was more of not focusing on showing what all you have to offer, but focusing on showing what they want to see. They, as in the panel of judges, particularly in a competition like this, Beat the Curve, where the format for the finals is amazing. It's like not just the panel of judges give you marks, it is also the audience who scores you. So there are three parameters on which they score you. It's particularly research and presentation and Q&A. So in the Q&A, it's not just the panel of judges who ask you the question, it's also the audience. And each one of them, they look out for something. So in the Q&A, when you uh, listen to their question, at times you have a predetermined answer and you want to show them what you already know. But instead of that, if you focus on showing them or letting them know what they are exactly looking for, they at times are looking just for the clarity of the solution and not the complexity of it. So these are very simple things that uh, matter, but they do matter a lot in the final stages. So that is one addition I wanted to.
Yeah, one more addition to it. You should be creative when it comes to submitting your solution. So what we did is, during the final round, we created a white paper of our solution. The white paper had detailed research on what the solution is and key competitive analysis in and around the different fintech startups. The white paper had 15 pages, and we knew that there will be 5 judges. So we printed all those white papers, made a report, purchased a premium file from the market, and we distributed all of these 5 key white papers to all the judges that we had before starting the presentation. So the aim was that when they get back to their table, their cabin or their office, and when they look at our solution, they get to understand, okay, this was the thing that we were trying to present, and that document could be referred for future purpose. So you have to just make sure that keep trying to stand out what others are doing, apart from the regular hard work that you are putting for the case.
So was this the thing? Was this one thing that only your team did, or did other team members or the other participants also make a file of such documentation and give it to the judges?
I think one of the team had a flyer kind of an advertisement material, so they distributed in the audience. But we thought of going more detailed, and since we were our core competency lied in market research, so we preferred white paper as compared as in comparison to a flyer or a marketing material.
So our presentation, particularly our during the Q&A, we also had a little theatric involved in our presentation. So like Shubham mentioned, we had a presentation prepared on Tableau or Power BI like of framework. So we had uploaded it on internet, and during the presentation itself, we said this is the link, and you can just use your mobile phones right now and go to the website and check. You will get the detailed research. So that is something which none of the other teams did. It was so just in case if someone in the audience is not actually paying attention, that is something grabs their attention, and they are like, oh, okay, fine. This is something extra these guys have done. So
So had you guys launched your website already? Was it
yeah,
there?
we uploaded it on the website beforehand, so that it will be accessible to anyone who puts in the URL.
And where is it now? What has happened to it now?
Yeah,
So it
so it's
was
still live. Still live. You can even go to bit.ly/survey1029, and that specific website will open, and you can access the data visualization, in fact, right now as well.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
This is exactly how we put the theatric during our presentation also.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Shubham and Chirag. It was great interacting with you guys. You've been very sweet and you've shared really great insights. And take care, stay safe, and stay home. Thank you.